second half for the session on November the 27th for the course ELT125 section 2. So I think I'm still sharing the, I think I am, I'm not sure. So for the second half, hope you're all there. If you're not, you can watch this in the YouTube channel, right? Now, hopefully you're there. And the idea is that we can work together. Let me call some of the students who were here before. Patricio, you're here. Sebastián, Maria Fernanda. Good morning, Claudia. Cristóbal, Amaya. I'm calling Antonia just in case they are available. And Antonia and Jorge. Okay. So if you're seeing the PowerPoint slide that says analyze these utterances, identify any pertinent feature of connected speech. Hopefully you are.
We are.
You are? Okay, great. So thank you. And the idea is that we can walk through this together, all right? So let's focus. Let's tackle the first question, the first utterance. Okay, we have to read it aloud many times. You have to convince yourself about what you're listening. All right. So, would you like another orange? 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 So, which features of connected speech do you think are present here, or might be present?
Coalescence assimilation.
Okay, so where is that?
Would you?
Would you? Perfect. So right here we will be talking about coalescence.
And depending if the speaker is use a non-rhotic or an or rhotic accent, another orange. I mean, no. Yeah, I don't know. Another orange. I don't know if some speaker would make that link with the R and the O.
Excellent. We're talking about the linking R here. For okay, even for speakers who speak a non-rhotic variety of English, still they would, in general, use it to link the consonant to the next vowel sound. Great. So far, your coalescence or assimilation or mutual coalescence, also called by some, and linking R. Any other? What I do, I mean, that's my personal choice. You can have your own way to do this. What I do, I try to find any linking possible. Any linking R, linking Y, linking W, linking consonant to vowel, or linking vowel to consonant. So I start with linking. And then I try to find if any sound is lost or missing, if there is any elision of any sound, right? And then I would start with assimilation, and I would see how sounds change or influence each other, which characteristics are assimilated by some of the sounds present in a sentence or utterance. So I go with this sort of layer, right? A linking, and then elision, and then assimilation, and then any other phonological process that might be present. So do you see anything here?
Linking.
Exactly. What type of linking? The last sound of like, even though the spelling is L-I-K-E, the last sound is Exactly. And the following sound is
A vowel.
a vowel sound. Exactly. A schwa, right? So linking consonant to vowel, we can call it. Okay, like a, like another orange. Would you like another orange? Would you like another orange? Excellent. So we identified three features that connect to speech in only one utterance. Let's take a look at the. Yes, sir.
Just to understand, when you talk about the elision, do we have to like say that there's an elision, for example, L, the L sound in wood? Do we have to do that or not?
That is also possible. That is also possible, because sorry, many authors talk about internal elisions or within words elision. Like for example, in words like island, the sound s is not produced even though it's spelled. The same with the word aisle, or the one the other aisle, the one that you find in supermarkets, right? What we call in Spanish pasillos, right? The supermarket aisles. Also, this is not pronounced. Um, and in many words, there are some letters or graphemes, right, that are not pronounced, such as in the word debt, which means in Spanish deuda, debt. You don't pronounce this b, so you go from de to t, debt. So these are types of elisions. Some of them are historical elisions, meaning that before years, 100 years ago, these sounds were pronounced in a different way, including those sounds. But then later on, the language evolved, changed, and then these sounds disappeared, right? Were elided. So yeah, we can say that in the case of would, there is an elision of just like in the verb like, there is an elision of the last vowel sound. So it's not likey, likey, right? It's like. So yes, absolutely. Shall we move on to the next one? Number two. Um, does anyone or would anyone like to read it aloud several times, like 3, 4 times? Just read it aloud, and then we all take care of the analysis. Nope.
I
Shall
can do
I?
it.
Excellent. Thank you, Christopher. Go for it, please.
The second one, right? I think she'll return tomorrow. I think she'll return tomorrow. One more time. I think she'll return tomorrow.
Great. I think she'll return tomorrow. All right. So what happens here? I think she'll return tomorrow. I think she'll return tomorrow. I think she'll return tomorrow. What's going on? I would pay attention here. I would pay attention here.
Maybe elision
Okay. Where's the possible elision?
and think. We don't say I think she'll. It's like I think she'll.
All right. I totally agree with you. Elision.
And in return tomorrow, it's like return tomorrow. The last N we don't say it.
Okay. So we say return. We say something like
Return tomorrow.
return return tomorrow. We
Or
return
maybe yes. Or maybe we say the last sound but it's really soft.
return tomorrow. Return return tomorrow. Yeah, that could be it, right? That could be it. Now, how do we transcribe the word returned? That's interesting. Let me copy and paste something that I just found while Maria Fernanda was speaking. So in the chat box, you may see the word returned, right? Returned, returned. So in the transcription, you may see that the R sound that we see in the end is not pronounced. It's not transcribed, right? Return, turn, return, return. So whenever we say return, it's like we're not pronouncing that one. Return, return tomorrow, return. So that's one thing, right? And Maria Fernanda was pointing that somehow this might be affected. Return tomorrow. Return tomorrow. Return tomorrow. Return tomorrow. Well, I may see that both n and t are both, in terms of place of articulation, are alveolar sounds, right? N and t share the same place of articulation. So nothing changes there. N and t, in terms of voicing, the first one is voiced, right? The second one is voiceless. Is there any influence in terms of voicing? Return tomorrow, turn tomorrow. It's kind of hard to tell, right? And so in terms of manner of articulation, the way the airflow is affected, the first one is a nasal sound, the next one t is a plosive sound. Does the n become like plosive, or does t become a nasal sound? Return tomorrow. Return tomorrow. Return tomorrow. Return tomorrow. Probably t becomes a little bit nasalized, maybe a little bit nasalized. Return tomorrow. Tomorrow, return tomorrow. It's hard to tell, right? But definitely, the sound, return tomorrow, is this one is not produced, right? Return tomorrow. We don't say return, earn, return. Do we? Some speakers may not, right? So, so far, I would say that we are very sure about the first one, elision. It's very complex to produce the sound. I think she'll, right? So we've got to make sure that the last sound should be this one, thing. I think she'll return tomorrow, thing, and not just right? Because if we say thin, I thin, we are basically talking about this adjective, thin, like skinny, like not fat, right? Thin. So remember that if you are eliding the last consonant sound k, you have to anyway make a nasal I think. You don't want to be using this word, right? I thin. Instead of saying yo pienso, yo creo, you would be saying yo delgado, yo. So that doesn't make sense, right? Doesn't make sense. So we can go back to number 2. Let's take a look at number 3. I need to get my cable because I'm running out of battery. So please, could you work on number 3, 4, and 5 in the meantime while I go and get the cable? Is that possible, guys?
Sure.
Okay, so identify the features of connected speech in exercises 3, 4, and 5, please. Coming back in 1 minute. I'm sorry to interrupt your work. How are you doing with the analysis?
I think I finished. Find what I could find.
Okay. Can we share, Sebastián, Claudia, Maya, Patricio, Maria Fernanda, Cristobal? Can we share whatever you have? Wasn't lucky with the cable. That's why I'm not sharing. Then I think I copied and pasted the images, the screenshot, right, in the chat box. So let's ask one of you to read aloud the sentence, right? Several times.
Maybe I can like project, but not right. Just to have
Oh,
the
sure, sure, wonderful. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
okay, I will try. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know if you see it.
Yes,
Do you see it?
yes,
Yes.
But
yes,
I
I do.
think that was the one that we were working on. This one.
That's the next one. Yes, that one. All right, thank you so much. So let's see if one of you guys can read it aloud. Uh, would you like to do it, Cristobal?
Okay, so the third one is but where can we put the new sofa? But where can we put the new sofa? In my case, I found like maybe but the sound is not really produced.
Yeah, right. It sounds different, or is it elided? What do you think?
It's like lighted actually, but where? But where?
Right. If it's elided, it means it disappears, right? So we put the new sofa. Um, but what if the sound is there? The sound the interdental voiced it's right there, but it's been modified by the previous one. What do you think? Could that be possible?
Like dentalized?
Like dentalized, exactly. So instead of saying by inserting the tip of the tongue in between the teeth, the tongue finds a middle place right in between the alveolar ridge when you produce t and the space in between the teeth. So the space halfway would be like right behind the teeth. Like when we say in Spanish, dado, dedo, duda, dinosaurio, da. Uh, how do you produce this the in Spanish? Is it behind the teeth, interdental, alveolar?
It's like behind the teeth.
It's like behind the teeth, right? When we say dado, duda, donde. So that would be the place when you say a t followed by a the sound becomes sort of dentalized. So it's not interdental anymore, but the tip of the tongue touches the upper teeth. So put the. So how do we call that? If the second sound is influenced by the previous one. This question is for
Um,
everyone, all right? Go ahead, please.
Regressive assimilation.
It is an assimilation, right? It is a type of assimilation. Now, if it goes backwards, if it goes from right to left, I always do move my hand, my arm to signal that, right? When you go from right to left, is regressive. If it goes from left to right, is progressive. So in this case,
is progressive. So
it's a progressive assimilation, exactly, because changes a bit, assimilating somehow the influence of t. Exactly. Any other feature of connected speech that any one of you were able to identify?
I think there is an elision in where, because we said just, we don't say the final E.
That's right. Absolutely right. There's some sort of elision there, right? The final grapheme, final letter is not pronounced. Excellent. All right. What about between can we? Can we? Is the final sound of can exactly the same as when you say can we? Can we?
I if I try to do the sound slowly, like it's like can we? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, sometimes also it depends on the speaker, and it depends on how you say it, or someone else says this, right? Can we? Where can we? Can we? Can we? Can we? For some, producing the n and the next sound being a sound with the mouth or the lips shaped like rounded, right? Shaped. So the n sound is one, but when it's next to another one like that, there's some sort of preparation from the lips. So the n, which is sort of articulated by spreading the lips a little bit, like when you say right? Can. The next one is w, can we? So the lips are not fully spread, are some sort of getting ready for the next sound, which is in some way somewhat rounded, right? Ooh, we, can we, can we? So it's not a pure sound. It's not pure as if you just said isolated or right? I would say can we? There's some sort of influence of the following sound. So the n sound does not become fully bilabial, like woo, right? But there's some sort of influence in the in the lip rounding, right? Or in the shape of the lips when you produce n. So there's some sort of regressive assimilation. The n might be a little bit labialized. There's some sort of bilabial feature affecting the n, but also, as I said before, it depends on the speaker and the way the speaker says this. We're talking just about possibilities, okay? For example, but. Some speakers may say but, producing a glottalized stop at the end of but, like just like butter, right? Or button, or bottle, mountain. Okay, so some speakers would use a glottal stop in but others would just say but. with that regular t sound, right? It all depends on the speakers, right? So it's easier when we listen to a sample. I think number 4 is going to make your life or our lives easier. Okay. Can any volunteer read aloud this? I don't know, maybe Claudia Morales, would you like to read this number 4 a couple of times, 3, 4 times, please? Could you, Claudia? Is your microphone working, Claudia, or? Well, if Claudia cannot, maybe she can do it later, right? And Maria Fernanda, would you like to read it aloud? Number 4, 3 or 4 times, please, in a row.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay.
Anytime.
You haven't finished printing your essay? How do I say that word?
Some people say essay, some people say essay, but in general, I think it's essay.
Okay. You haven't finished printing your essay. You haven't finished printing your essay. You haven't finished printing your essay.
Thanks a lot. So what do we see here, guys? Help me out with this one.
Elisions and elisions.
Lots of them, right? Lots of them. Okay, so what's the first elision?
Haven't. We don't pronounce the t sound.
Okay, that's one.
And finished. We don't pronounce the t sound too.
Yes and no. We may talk about an elision when we think about finished, right? Finished printing, finished printing. Or we may consider a possible assimilation, a regressive assimilation, meaning the last sound of finished, t, sounds more like the following sound, p, finished printing. So that's those are 2 options, right? Some speakers may just elide the final sound and go from finish printing. There's no of any ed sound. Finish printing. Go from sh to p straight away. But other speakers may include the final t sound, but it sounds more like a p, more like the following sound in printing, right? Finish printing. Okay, so both of them are correct. Elision of t or regressive assimilation, so the final sound in finished, which is t, becomes more similar to p, becomes more in terms of a place of articulation. Right? It becomes more like p, more like a bilabial sound. What's the other elision present here? We get printing your essay. You haven't finished printing your essay. What other
I think there's a linking error.
all right, linking where? Can you show me, please?
Your essay.
Perfect. You got that one. Yes, Lincoln R. Your essay. Okay, that's another one. Any other besides the Lincoln R?
Teacher, I'm sorry. You can repeat the question because it's freezing a little bit in my computer.
Sure. So far, you have identified illusion in haven't, the final t, finished, which could be illusion or regressive assimilation, to becoming more like p, linking r in your essay, and what's the other phonological process that might be present? For example, in the word printing your.
Assimilation.
Okay, in which
With
way? Which direction?
the N and the G sound, it's not like printing.
Yes, it's not printing, right? It's
Yes.
printing.
It's
So how do
regressive
we call that?
regressive assimilation.
Yeah, exactly. It is a regressive assimilation. So I think there might be two phonological processes actually there, because the it is affecting the previous sound. So yes, we're talking about the regressive assimilation. That's totally fine. It's not printing. It's printing, right? With a nasal, very nasal. But also, we don't say printing, right? Printing. It's just printing. So that's like very very crazy, right? It's like okay, the sound g is modifying the previous one, so it's not but But then we don't say printing g. So there's also an elision there. I don't know if you get what I mean, because when we say think, right? The k is affecting the previous sound, right? And it's not as in nine, but as the last sound in song. But the sound k, when we say think, is still there. It's still present, right? We still say think. But when we say printing, we don't say printing, right? So there is a regressive assimilation. Completely agree with that. But also the sound disappears. What do you think about that? Is that too crazy?
It's like what you have told us before, like the historical illusions, or not?
I think so. I think so. I'm not 100% sure about this if it's a historical illusion, but I do agree that I'm going to review that and I'll get back to you. Or if you find information, you can share it with the rest of us, right? But yes, regressive assimilation, as Maria Fernanda identified, and what you're saying that it is probably a historical illusion because we never say singing or talking. I was talking with my friend. I was going. That doesn't happen, right? So yes, regressive assimilation, but the sound disappears. So two features of connected speech for the price of one. How about that? Okay, so we're just
Iconic.
missing. Yeah. So number five, it's the last one, the last exercise for today's session. Any comments about number five? First, if we can have a reader. Let's see. Sebastian Rojas, would you like to read that aloud?
Yes.
Thank
My
you.
cat
Remember,
doesn't
several
like,
times.
yes, squirrels. Is that word? The final one?
Yes.
Squirrel. My cat doesn't like squirrels. My cat doesn't like squirrels. My cat doesn't like squirrels. My cat doesn't like squirrels.
Thank you very much for that. So, what do you think?
annihilation of t.
Yes, I like that you immediately recognize that one. Excellent. What about in, yes?
I'm not sure, but I guess it's a progressive assimilation. In squirrels, the sound it's like z, should be voiced because it comes after an L sound.
We're talking about the last sound in squirrels, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You are completely right about that. Progressive assimilation, the plural form, the plural coming after a voiced consonant sound like O should be z, squirrels. Excellent. Anything between like and squirrels? The word boundary there? I mean, between k and s.
It makes the sound voiceless or not? The k sound.
Well, actually, it is voiceless, and it is also voiceless. So there is not like a yes, what could we call it? Progressive assimilation in terms of voicing. But think about place of articulation. You may agree or disagree with this, right? Remember that I don't own the truth.
Yeah, like the sounds are really together. Like you don't have to anything. Just like soltar el aire.
Right. When we say like the final sound of like, we move the tongue upwards. So the back of the tongue goes to the velum, right? Like you can feel if you say the word, the back of your tongue pressing the velum, like the back part of your mouth, right? When we say squirrels, the initial sound of squirrels is s, which is an alveolar sound, meaning the tip of the tongue touches the alveolar ridge, right? Right above the upper teeth. So there's a sort of a long distance for the mouth when you are speaking very fast to go from the velum to the alveolar ridge. So usually what happens is that the tongue finds a place halfway in between point A and point B. In this case, the velum and the alveolar ridge. So when you say like squirrels, do you really pronounce s in the alveolar ridge, or is your tongue somewhere in between it's 2 points?
I was finding something and I remember you seeing my screen. Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, I've been there.
Because
It
I
has
wanted
happened to me.
to remember where is the alveolar ridge and the what is the other part of the
The velum, the velum. The alveolar ridge is right above the upper teeth, right? We have the upper teeth and the bottom teeth, right? So behind the upper teeth is the alveolar ridge. When you say, for example, or 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 t or d, your tongue touches the alveolar ridge. And the other part is the velum, which is in the back. When you say, for example, k or g, g, k, k, that's your velum. Oh, nice picture there. That's really, really a good picture. Thank you for sharing. So from the alveolar ridge, which is right behind the upper teeth, exactly, and the velum, which is where you see this velar area, that's the velum. So that's the distance that the tongue has to go from from one place to the other. Seems like a very short distance, right? But when you're speaking fast, sometimes the tongue touches a place in between 2 points, point A and point B, the velum and the alveolar ridge, which is the middle point right there. Try to see if when you say like squirrels, your tongue is actually touching the hard palate instead of the alveolar ridge, which is where generally you put your tongue when you are producing sounds starting with s, s.
Yeah, I can feel it.
So that's something that may take place. Now you have to pay attention to that because it's almost imperceptible. But that's what happens. Like squirrels, like squirrels. It sometimes is very difficult to go from the velum to the alveolar ridge to produce the following sound. In this case, s. So the tongue finds a place in between those two. In this case, the alveolar ridge. You agree with this? How would we call this process?
Palatalization. I don't know.
Absolutely right. Palatalization. Exactly. You got it right. We call it palatalization because the sound becomes palatized, meaning it's not really an alveolar sound, but the tongue moves a little bit backwards towards the hard palate. So it becomes palatized because of the influence of the previous sound, which is a k, right, a velar sound. So in this process of palatalization, there is a feature, right, that is being assimilated. So we can call this assimilation. Now, what kind of assimilation? If k is affecting s. What do you think? If k is affecting s, what kind of assimilation could that be?
Progressive.
Exactly, progressive. So this could be an example of progressive assimilation in which, uh, like you said, Maria Fernanda, and more specifically, as Cristobal mentioned, a palatalization of the sounds. When we talk about palatalization, when we talk about dentalized, we're going beyond, right, this course. We're going like to the next level. By the way, okay. So it's good that you may know these concepts and you may apply them. Last feature of connected speech. In the first two words, do you see anything? Can you identify? Is there any, or there isn't any?
Uh, in cat and dust, maybe. The d and the d sound because are really close or not.
That could be one option. And what about the first one? My cat. My cat. Anything that you are able to identify there? My cat. My cat. My cat. My cat. Because definitely when you mention cat doesn't, my cat doesn't, definitely the last sound of cat is not plosive. It's unreleased. We don't say my cat doesn't. My cat doesn't. Right? You say like my cat doesn't. So that t is unreleased. It's not plosive, but just there's a small pause, small stop of the airflow. But when you say my cat, do you say my cat or you say my cat? What do you think?
The first option is like a stop of the sound. Like
My cat, my cat.
my cat doesn't. It's like we don't produce the explosion of the. And
because my cat, when you see the word boundaries, when you see or you focus on the last sound of my and the first sound of cat, you go from a vowel sound I to a consonant my. So whenever you have a final vowel sound and the next word has a consonant sound, or the other way around, one word ends in a consonant sound and the next one is a vowel sound, it's a. I'm sorry, I didn't get that. So I was thinking about maybe linking. What do you think? Does that convince you? Not really. You're not buying this.
Sorry, teacher, I couldn't.
What about linking? If you say my cat and you link that, and it seems that we're saying just one word, my cat, because you have a vowel sound next to a consonant sound. So you may link those two sounds. What do you think? That's too crazy? Doesn't make sense?
In order to make that link, we should like say it faster, because I want to make that linking, I like I don't see it. Like I don't feel the linking in my. It should be like my cat, Mike. I don't know.
Okay, I mean, that's as I said before, it all depends on the way the speaker is saying this. For example, if a speaker says, my cat is well trained. Yours, on the contrary, is peeing all over the house. My cat, there's no linking there, right? Because you are stressing the possessive adjective. So it all depends on how you say it and how it makes sense. Because we're reading this, we're not listening to another speaker saying these words, sentences, or utterances in general. So
sorry.
yes,
How
go
would
ahead,
it
please.
sound? How would it sound with a linking?
My cat, my cat, my cat doesn't like squirrels. My cat. So considering that the last sound is a diphthong, right? And is it? My? I? It's a diphthong, isn't it? And the following sound is a consonant sound. So in general, you may link consonant to vowel sound or a vowel sound to consonant. So it could be, but depending on the way you say it. So in a written exercise, there are many options possible. So in an evaluation, for example, I would probably give you the transcription. So if you look at the transcription, for example, in number one, would you like another orange? I would make sure that the transcription includes the affricate in would you, right? And I would put together like another, so it looks like one word, like another, and probably like another orange, I would put them all together in just like one big chunk. Or I would put the sentence, would you like another orange? And I would put in parentheses, read this aloud. There are 3 features of connected speech present. So before reading this aloud, probably you would have to pay attention to the possible 3 features of connected speech. And then read it aloud. That doesn't make sense? Because when we are analyzing a written exercise, you have many options depending on how you read this. It's not the same when we're listening to a sample. When we're listening to a sample, there's only one way to interpret it, right? One way to analyze it. I don't know if this
Yes,
makes sense to you.
yes, teacher. Also, we passed the hour 5 minutes ago. Well, 4 minutes.
Thank you so much for that. I really like that. So I'm going to stop recording now. I'm going to say goodbye to you. And